Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to.
Join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome back to the Inspired Action Podcast, or welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. My name is Jay, and I'm with my co-host, as always, Lita Herman.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know why I do that. Lita Herman, come on down.
Come on down.
This is Pod 86, off to be the wizard, the wonderful wizard of life. Lita, how do you like that for a title?
I love it. I love it. And today's topic, today's question of the day.
Question of the podcast. Days are irrelevant within podcast world. It could be any day in any year when they hear this.
Yes, it could be 100 years from now.
Totally.
Totally.
They'll be like, what's a podcast? In my day, we listened to podcasts with headphones. What? Without an implant? Okay, so already starting, right? Already starting.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the question of the podcast for someone to ponder today?
Is this your time to pursue alchemy?
Wow, that's a pretty big question.
That's a big question.
So if you don't know the answer, stay tuned. We're going to talk about it a little bit because alchemy is the transformational process of becoming a realized human being, the wizard and creator of your own life.
Yes, that's what we mean by being a wizard. It's this thing that has been from Taoism that you can become, and it's called a realized human being, or a sage is often a word that they use to
So
translate
are we
that.
off to be the wizard, the wonderful wizard of life? Here we go. Let's start this process.
Should we click our heels
3 times to go home?
Yes.
What is the process, Lita?
Okay, so it's the process of finding your own rudder and your own sail for your little boat on the sea, and even creating your own breeze to sail on so that you are no longer the victim of life's randomness.
You know, as such, the 9 stages of alchemy may not be a journey for you to may not be ready for it right now, but if you are ready to embark on it, keep listening. But even if you feel like maybe it's too much, you can still listen because this is all relevant.
Yeah, so the question is, how can you know if alchemy is right for you?
Yeah, well, no right, no wrong, no good, no bad. So there you go. Throw that in for a question.
And if you want to know whether alchemy is a good fit for you, ask yourself a very simple yet very profound question. Another question, Jay.
So the question is there more to life than this? I'm going to throw another one in too. Am I willing to make the changes in my life to find out the answer to that question?
Oh, that's perfect.
So I'm going to throw a third one in. Am I doing what I really want to do in this lifetime?
There you go.
So there's 3 simple, just simple questions, right?
Very simple questions.
Is there more to life than this? Am I willing to make the changes in my life to find out the answer to that question? Is there more to life than this? And the third is, am I doing what I really want to do in this lifetime right now?
Yeah. So if you think the answer might be yes, or at least you're already asking yourself this question, then you may already be an alchemist.
It's a strong maybe. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a clue. Let's say it's a clue.
I think everyone that I know is somewhere on this, like, yes, what's more out there? I might not be able to make the changes now. I want to make the changes.
But I meet a lot of people, Jay, who often have ill health or some other thing in their life that's just huge, and it's wrecking everything in their life. And what they want is to go back to the status quo, to go back to where they were before. And so they are looking for less change. They don't want to see change. They want to see a stability in their life, which is totally fine and totally understandable when your current situation in life is so outrageously out of balance. You're just trying to get back to enjoying life. And that's okay. So that's not alchemy. That's just like, I need to stabilize. So alchemy is beyond that. So, if you're just trying to enjoy life as it should be, as it is, then great. There's, again, no judgment here.
No good, no bad, no right, no wrong,
Right.
and definitely no judgment here.
And Chinese medicine practitioners, what they do is very similar to what I was just talking about, just trying to maintain the status quo, get your stability in life back. And the way they do that is they use something called the primary channels. These are the channels that have the points that most of us are familiar with. And they really are just trying to balance all your systems. So it's an all systems go vehicle. Like we want your vehicle to have tests like check the spleen is good, check the liver's good, check the lungs are good.
All systems a go kind
Yeah.
of vehicle. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. That's good.
Yeah. So that's what Chinese medicine is often trying to do. Now, alchemy is trying to do something else. So again, Chinese medicine is just trying to get everything to cooperate and harmonize so there are no hiccups in your life and you can just walk through life simply, very simply. And so we talked about, one of the most famous alchemists, Goheng, and, he wrote a book about embracing simplicity, which we've talked about before. And this is the fundamental foundation of alchemy. And we have to, at some level, embrace our simple lives before we even begin to contemplate alchemy.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to kind of think about, grasp, really ask yourself, the simple life can sometimes be complicated. So
Yes.
how do you uncomplicate
E-
a life to make it simple?
Exactly. So many of us might be right here just trying to embrace simplicity. That's a lot. Like, you know, put alchemy aside, just trying to live a normal, simple life and enjoy it. That's sometimes tricky for people. So, some of us again, we aren't seeking more than that. We're not asking that question, is there more to life than this? That's the question of alchemy. We're just asking to have a normal life with as much enjoyment as we can.
So, right, so you're just saying, listen to the podcast and have a simple life. That's it. The only two things you have to do?
Yes.
Listen to the podcast and have a simple life. I like that.
Yeah. So before we answer the is there more to life than this
Which
question?
is just what a little simple question, right?
Yes. Let's talk about what's coming up this fall. You can visit us at the alchemylearningcenter.com. And we also have our clinic, alchemyhealingcenter.com. And, we're doing things like apprenticeships
So,
and
yeah, I'll tell a little bit about that. Lita has this amazing apprenticeship for practitioners or people who in some kind of energy field, healing field. And so it's a 1 to 3 year program. And she takes new students from time to time and brings them through in this journey. So we do have that on the website. So that's alchemylearningcenter.com. Or you can find out information on the alchemyhealingcenter.com. Is that correct?
yes.
Yeah, got
And
that
we
right.
and we have a few workshops that we're planning this fall, but the most exciting one is we're going to do the 13 Ghost Points workshop on Halloween. Of course, that's just for fun because it's not really about ghosts and goblins, but
We figured people would remember it. The Ghost
yeah.
Points, Halloween, October 31st.
So if you're listening to this in real time, you're welcome to join us. It is for practitioners, but truly anyone can sign up for it.
I think it's a fascinating topic. I've heard you speak many times on it, and it's just always, I learned something.
And so much of what we do in these workshops for practitioners is teach practitioners how to do at least one or two of the points on themselves. So that's why, even if you're a listener who's not a practitioner, you're welcome to join us.
You will learn the first 1 or 2 points
Yes.
almost always. And it is a 3 to 4 hour live stream event. We try to go for 4. We usually end up about 3.5 to 4. And you will be able to ask questions at the end or during it a little bit. And the one question we get every time, yes, there'll be a replay. We get that every time we talk to about someone about it. They're like, will there be a replay?
And we also have a live event. If all goes well in the world, we will have
Yes.
the option to come in person for a small group of people. So that's in Northampton, Massachusetts at our clinic. So
So you can fly in to Hartford or Boston. You
yes.
can Uber on over or
Yeah.
drive, rent a car. But we will take a
Or
small.
walk
That's right.
or take a horse.
Or take a horse. Well, you need a buggy too to carry all your luggage,
That's
right?
right. That's
Horse,
right.
buggy. I don't know. Bungee jumping.
Whatever mode of
Whatever you
transportation you
got, we'll
want.
take it. We will be taking a small group of people if the COVID restrictions hold up to where they are right now. We'll be able to do it. If not, it will be a live stream with questions and all that good stuff. We're getting kind of good at that. We also, Lita, not to jump to the next one, but so 5 elements is a class. We have 5 elements, 9 palaces, chaotic energy. We rolled in some of our learned gua sha, cupping, facial gua sha, cupping. All of that is in the alchemylearningcenter.com. We have so much going on there. We have meditations. We have some Qigong coming out. We have Tai Chi coming out. We have a lot coming.
And we have we have a lot of news. We have a very exciting app for the Alchemy Learning Center.
Yes. Ah, how about this one?
Yeah, it's taken us
Magic.
Magic.
Magically, it's done.
It's taken us 8 months to produce
8
this
months
app.
in 8 months of 3 years.
Yes. And we are so excited to share it with you all. There
So
will be all kinds of things you can do in the app.
So sign up and get the app for free. App is always free. And we have all kinds of stuff that you can kind of explore and look at. And, some of it's also free. Some of it is a small fee. Some of it is larger fees for the big classes. But it is the portal. It is. And how do they find that portal, Lita?
alchemylearningcenter.com, or once the app is done, you can look in the App Store for the Alchemy Learning Center app.
Yes, and the logo. It looks very similar to the podcast logo, just slightly different because I had to make it a little cuter. Okay, maybe not cuter, but equally cute. I don't want any, sibling rivalry there of logos. But you'll know which one it is when you see it, right?
Yes, you definitely will. And I should just say again, you've probably heard us talk about our new book, Through the Mystery Gate.
Which is doing really well on Amazon.
Yes. And we just wanted to say thank you for all of you who've given us such awesome feedback about it. We would love more reviews on Amazon.
You don't have to you don't have to write a book about the book, just a couple words. If you liked it, just give it the stars that you think it deserves.
And if you
5 would be nice, but not required.
And if you like this podcast, please rate and review it as well. But also
that is actually really
important because that gets more people in at least in Apple to keep listening. And also, I just want to say, if you like today's podcast, you might enjoy the book Through the Mystery Gate. Because
I think you will definitely enjoy the book.
Yeah, because today's podcast is really about the information in that book.
Yeah. So, people all over the world listen to this podcast and are reading the book because we hear from them every day. So we just want to keep getting the word out about alchemy and the 5 elements, the 9 palaces of the heart, all of that stuff. We love doing it for people who are digging it like we do. So if you've already done it, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't done it already, please just take a second, like and subscribe the podcast. Leave a word or two if you want. We always read it. And that is just always appreciated. I'm going to wait right now for you to go do it. So just go do it right now. All right. So thank you for doing that. Yes.
Yay. All right. So back to our alchemy question of the day.
Pod 86.
Yes. Is there more to life than this? So this relates back to our 9 palaces, which we talked a lot about in season 1. So if you haven't listened to those podcasts, you could take a minute now and go listen to those.
All right, which ones are those, Lita? I know you already know.
Maybe more than a minute. It's from season 1 and it's episodes 34 to 46.
How do you know that?
I just memorized.
You have not memorized them all.
I have a little note here.
Okay, 34 to 46. Okay, so you can and you can do that through the new app.
Yes, once we get the app.
Zip right through.
Yes, well, we do already have the Inspired Action Podcast app, which again, the app is available on Apple, Spotify. The podcast is available also on Spotify.
Wherever you listen to a podcast,
wherever
you can
listen.
find us.
So the 9 palaces, they are about balancing your life. They're really about trying to have that life we were just talking about that, Chinese medicine's always trying to help us have balance.
All systems go.
Yeah, all systems go, harmony. And so let's just go through a little bit of the 9 palaces for those who are new to us.
Sure. I like that thought. Let's just kind of roll with that a little bit.
Yeah. So as you grow up, you start studying, you go to school, you go off to elementary school. Maybe you're not studying a particular career, but you're getting prepared, for becoming an adult. And one of the things that you have to do as you become an adult is actually make a living. So that's your career.
Most people do that.
Yes.
Some end up in their parents' basement and they never grow up.
That's true too. But, in general.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying, you got to come up with a career. That's the first palace. That's a water palace.
Yes. And then as you mature, you might start looking for a mate. It's very common that that's kind of something that you need to put into balance in your life. That
Which
you have
would be a fire.
Yes, that's a fire palace, having a relationship. And then you start realizing that your health is something you need to take care of. Because as you get older, those sort of things that crop up, like maybe some pain or some illness. So you might need to start watching your diet or thinking about exercising or things like that.
So that's the wood palace of health.
Yes, that's the wood palace of health. And then you start maybe saving money because Maybe you want to have children someday, so you might need a home and some material
Or
possessions.
maybe you want to have a nicer home with no children.
Yes, that too.
So that's also wood.
That would be
That's
the wood
wealth.
perspective.
That's right. You mean you can have both.
Yes.
You totally can have both.
And then you really might start thinking about possibly raising children. So there's a children palace, which we also call creativity, because for those people who just want that nice home, maybe they don't want children, but they still have projects that are like their babies.
So that's for you 5-element people. That's a metal palace.
And then maybe you start wanting to enjoy traveling the world. And so you're
That's
going
the
to
global palace.
You might have the money to start traveling the world because you've already worked on your wood wealth palace. And
Sure.
so now you're really going to enjoy life.
So the travel global is also metal for you
Yes.
5-element people.
Yes. And as you have all these life experiences through your travel, through your relationships, through raising children, through your career, you end up getting wiser over time.
You know, Weisenheimer.
And that's the wisdom palace.
And that is water.
Yes, another water palace. And then you even have enough money to be generous.
It doesn't have to be money. It could be time, experience, anything
Yes.
abundance, anything that you have, you can then start in that.
And we call the giving away of the abundance prosperity.
And that is a fire palace.
And then the last one, which really is in the middle, but we put it last because it's the most advanced of the palaces, is the home palace. And we don't mean like your physical home necessarily. We mean your spiritual home.
I like to say home with a capital H.
Yes, home with a capital H. So that's the 9 palaces. This is the path of a normal human life.
Normal, air quotes.
Air quotes. And
normal. We don't even want to define that.
Yes. So in the idea that we all have these 9 palaces that we have to balance. And it's our kind of our goal to.
I think it's the curriculum I usually use.
It's the curriculum,
the curriculum of the lifetime, this lifetime.
Yes. So we're all trying to find balance of these 9 palaces. But the next question isn't just, do you have a life that can be balanced, but does it feel like enough for you? That would be the better question to ask. And, Jay always says, ask yourself better questions.
Better questions. And guess what? You'll get better answers. So, what a concept.
Yes.
So does it feel like enough for you is another question to ponder.
Yes. So, if life just feels like you're a character in the movie Groundhog Day,
which is a movie we love to reference because it's not too heavy, but yet it's very
profound, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like you're living the same day over and over again. And, obviously that character did live the same day over and over again and then found different ways to live it. So if you're looking for different ways to live your life, are you desperately wanting your life experience to change or hoping for a different outcome to develop?
But if you're doing the same thing, how would the outcome change if you keep doing the same thing over and over? So this movie, Groundhog Day, which will be the homework. How about that? The homework for this week. It's kind of like this light version of birth, the mundane life experience, and then death, and the cycle of death and rebirth. It goes over and over and over. So that's what happens in this movie. Not that it'd be like a spoiler.
Yes.
But that's pretty much what Groundhog Day is.
Yeah, so you can go with the Buddhist name for this kind of cycle. It's called samsara. And the idea of samsara is to continually be subjected to rebirth and dying and rebirth and the suffering that goes on by having life feel like that. And although you think you might want to keep coming back again and again, well, that could be not so good because you're suffering all the time.
But no judgment.
Right.
No judgment.
No good or bad, no right or wrong. We're just saying it's something you can think about. And it's a big concept. We like to think that, the movie Groundhog Day, it's just a cute way to think about maybe a bigger picture and this Buddhist idea of suffering.
And how it might relate to some of the challenges you have with your own 9 palaces.
Yes. So you may even feel that you have something important to offer to the world and something that you think is uniquely yours to bring to the world, but you just can't get enough momentum on your life's runway to take off and make that happen. So you're waiting. And so you're kind of
waiting,
and waiting, for the right moment to make that change in your life. But then, changes. If even if you want it to change, you're just waiting and nothing changes. And sometimes life changes things for you. So
Yeah, we
that
know about that,
we talk a lot about that
Yeah.
with the health palace because
And the wealth palace and the career palace, all of the
yes.
palaces. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you can't stand your job and you go every day, you could possibly get fired. Okay, that's life making a
That's
thing.
life.
Or the building could burn down, or they could go out of business, they could go bankrupt, whatever. You got to find a new career. You're not ready. You're like, oh, I was waiting. I was, well, I was gonna ready to go, or I was gonna retire in a year, or whatever. We could go down all the 9 palaces, and each one of those
Yeah.
life could make a decision for you if you don't
Yes.
have that ability to look at that challenge. That
Right.
again, this is another concept. No judgment. We keep saying it because we don't want to sound like we're judging someone who's stuck in this cycle.
Yeah.
We've all been in the cycle
Yep.
on some level, on some palace.
Yes.
That's just human nature, I think.
And it's probably almost true for everyone who's listening to this podcast, including ourselves, that, if you're in a holding pattern on one of those palaces, maybe it's time to ask those better questions and
Thank
just
you.
ask yourself a little bit more. So, if you're constantly saying, well, it could be better, but it also could be worse, maybe
So I'll just stay in the middle.
maybe I'll just stay in the middle.
Stuck in the middle with you. There's some meaning to that song right now, right? Stuck in the middle. But you know what? It could be stuck. It could not be stuck.
Right. It doesn't mean you're stuck necessarily, but it may mean you're in that holding pattern.
So think about some questions. Think about what answers come to you when you ask those questions.
Yes. And if you're curious, what more can there be to life, like beyond this cycle of the ordinary? So if you want more answers and more meaning and more time for these experiences,
we got something for you.
Yes.
Alchemy.
Yes. If you want to discover your full potential and actually fly in your life.
It sounds like a used car. Come on down.
Yes.
We got it today. All you can eat. Alchemy. All you can buy.
Yeah, Alchemy on sale.
No, it's for everyone and it's free.
Yeah, it really is for everyone. Alchemy is just a powerful way to transform yourself from someone who is sort of stuck to someone who can metaphorically soar through the air like a bird.
Like to say, like, actually fly in your life.
Yes. So let's talk about lessons in wizardry.
Sounds a little Hogwartsy, but go ahead. Let's do it. Let's go with it.
We want to teach you how to become a powerful wizard for your own life. So we actually aren't talking Harry Potter kind of wizards and witches, although those are very powerful too. No judgments, right, Jay? No judgments.
Right. If you got your Harry Potter thing going on, more power to you.
Go for it. So, we're talking about a different kind of wizard. There's no brooms needed to fly or
play Quidditch.
Play Quidditch, right?
Chase the
what are those things called? Those little
brain freeze. The snitch.
The snitch.
Yes. It came to me.
Yes. So you don't need a broom to fly and catch the snitch.
When you're playing Quidditch.
Oh, yes. So the 9 stages of alchemy are spiritual lessons so you can learn to master your own life. And that's really what we're talking about with flying. So we talk a lot about Gandalf, the wizard in The Lord of the Rings, and how he evolved from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White. And so he was on a path of evolution, transformation, and self-realization. So even as a wizard, he continues the journey of self-discovery.
And he had a kick-ass staff.
Yeah.
Like, boom. If you're going to be Gandalf, gray or white, you need that staff.
You need a staff.
Yes.
So
all right, let's talk about a couple other pop culture legends of wizards and witches, which I always like to... We talk about this in the past, so I like to just bring up the little list. Of course, we got Gandalf.
Yes, Gandalf.
We'll do a little Dumbledore.
Okay,
Harry Potter. We got to talk about the Harry Potter stuff, right?
Yeah.
So we can go back a little bit and do Merlin and then Morgana Le Fay, which is equally as powerful. Maybe that's questionable. But I like to think so.
And we always talk about Yoda, the Jedi wizard.
Yes.
And
Forget not less us.
Yes.
I don't know if I got that right. And then how about a little Wizard of Oz, since we're doing Wizard of Oz today?
Yes. Glinda the Good Witch.
Yes. And then, of course,
my favorite of all time is
Bewitched.
Bewitched, the show that I grew up on it. And I think it's just so ironic because I really wanted to be her.
Well, did you get the nose twitched down?
Yeah.
No, not even close.
Yeah, no. Okay.
You just like contorted your face. It's not even close.
Come
No,
on.
Samantha would be like, sister. That
I
is not how you do it.
Yes, I wanted to be Samantha. So anyway, all of us have the ability to control energy. And so this is what these wizards did is they controlled the energy all around them. And so you can too.
Sure. Get
It's
your Yoda on.
yeah. So the bonus is you won't even need a wand or a fancy staff to move things
But
around.
it adds.
Yes.
Asterisk, it adds and makes you look kind of cool. But you don't
Yeah.
need one technically. You don't need anything technically.
No, you don't.
But go get one if you need one.
So embarking on the 9 stages of alchemy, it's about becoming more and more realized, awake and aware in your life. So how does that work?
How does that? Isn't that like boom, the answer to the big another question? How does it work?
And in the last podcast, we talked about each of these stages of alchemy. We went through them one at a time.
Quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. And we're going to do a lot more about it in this podcast. So we're just, getting you sort of acclimated to this idea that we love to talk about the 5 elements and we love to say how wonderful it is to learn about yourself. So the first step we say is go back to season 1 and listen to the original podcasts episodes that are in the teens that are all of the 5 element uh, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, where we discussed how to identify that in yourself. And so once you start to know yourself and you look at your 9 palaces.
Wait, before you, how you move through the world energetically.
Yes, that's
You
what
can
they
also
tell.
get one of our books or take one of our classes. We have 5 element, 9 palaces, alchemy
Yes.
in the learning center. Shameful plug. I know, but it just helps people along. It's just
Yes.
tools that we created to help you understand the 5 elements and how you move through the world energetically.
Yes.
And then the 9 palaces, which is your curriculum.
Yes. And we also have a class on the 9 palaces in the Alchemy Learning Center. So, once you understand those 2 things and how they operate in your normal life, your day to day life, then we say alchemy is the fairy dust that we sprinkle over our lives to make it magical.
And you do have to provide your own fairy dust.
Yes.
We don't sell that yet.
Well, there's a spice I use called pixie dust. Isn't
Yes,
that?
yes.
That you could go buy that, but it's not necessarily magical. It just tastes really good. But anyway, well,
Okay, so you're going to add some spice to your alchemy.
Yes.
Get some pixie dust, which is, I think, at Whole Foods. I'm not saying get it at Whole Foods.
Shameless plug for Whole Foods.
For them, like they need any plugs, right?
Yeah, right.
But there is pixie might help your alchemy. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Right.
So, so how does it work? How does this magical component work? Well, we actually don't know because if we knew, then it wouldn't be magical.
Right. And, mostly it's about changing your own mind. The magic is the influence we have on our own minds.
Yes.
Right. Does that make sense?
That's it. If our minds believe that life is limited just to this normal life.
Air quotes, normal.
Yeah, air quotes like balancing all those
twice in
9
one episode.
palaces.
Normal, air quotes. In other words, we don't believe in the normal.
Yeah, so you stop believing in the normal, and then that's what life will be like. If you believe the normal, then your life will be normal. But if you want to choose to believe differently, if we ask, is there more to life than this? That question, then we're stepping into the role of the wizard. And that's, asking, what magic is there to life? So part of being in the magic is not having to figure this out.
I truly believe that. It just, we talked about the Wu Wei and being in it. It just things unfold in front of you. You're in this flow of life. Everything is in harmony and bliss, and things just go with the alchemy. You don't have to figure it out. It's just fantastic. It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy.
You just step into the footsteps that are already there in front of you. You get to follow also the footsteps of some of the really wise alchemists before you, which is why we love the 9 stages of alchemy. You don't have to figure this out on your own. Go back to the pod 85 or the last podcast where we outlined the steps of the 9 stages of alchemy. That's the path that they traveled on. It's a well thought out, well traveled path. And so we can use that. We don't need to reinvent alchemy, though you could.
Think about if you go out hiking and you're in the woods. Do you want to stay on the path or you want to bushwhack your way through?
Yeah, which you can. You can totally
do that.
You could totally bushwhack your way through alchemy.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people do. They got a machete and they just hacking things down. But if you want the easier way, in my opinion,
Yeah.
no judgment, take the path. Look
So
at the sign markers, look at the points,
yes.
and see how it flows with your life. Only you can decide.
Yes. So when you start asking the question, it means you're moving beyond your own life. You know your 5 elements. You know how the 9 palaces are doing. You know all this stuff about yourself. But now you get to do the fairy dust thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear a little pouch. I'll just take my little pouch and I'll just, if I'm having a tough day, I'll just get out the fairy dust.
Sprinkle that fairy dust. So by the way, we're getting
That was
some.
pretty good on the sound effects, right? That was
Yeah.
all me on the controls this
Yes.
week.
She took the controls away from me
Yes,
because
we know what happened.
I
On
behaved
our
so
last-
badly.
No, not badly. Remember, no good or bad.
No good or bad.
Just inappropriate. Again, that would have been Lita.
Yeah. Every like 2 seconds.
We would have had like 50 of those already. Because it's magical. All right, we're just getting silly now,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so you got it. You understand your energetics. You
Well,
understand
let's just
your
offer
curriculum.
let's offer one more time. By the way, we're getting some lovely videos from people all
I
over
like
the
how
world.
you say that. Lovely videos.
Lovely videos from people all over the world so we can look at their walks and help them identify their elemental stack ups. So send your videos over to us. We'll help you
Yes.
identify.
And we should put up a little bit of a primer on how to send. We get tons of videos. So a long walk, like a sidewalk or a hallway, and have them do them front and back slow, and then faster and forward, like you're in a bit of a hurry, not running, and no shirts covering the butts because we need to look at those butts, right?
Yes.
And also no Uggs or flip flops.
Yes,
So those we should be like, and no, and no, and no.
Yes.
So it makes it easier, and we share this with our members of the Alchemy Learning Center when we have our nights. We do sometimes do the Wednesday nights, and we look at the walks, and it helps if those things are in alignment. But it's not required. But we do get them from all over the world. It's kind of amazing, actually.
Right. So if you're not sure of that, that's the first step. And go ahead and, send us your videos or sign up for the Understanding the 5 Elements class or the 9 Palaces class.
Or just shoot us a question, email, DM, whatever.
Yeah.
Shout it outside. Hey,
Shout it
Jay,
out. Say
what
hi.
am I?
We love it.
I get that all the time, actually.
Yeah, we love it. And, this is all about, you embarking on your alchemical journey and having the willingness to first find your authentic self. Because once you find your authentic self, whether you're fire or wood or earth or whatever element you are.
You only had 2 left. And you're like, whatever. It's just too much to do the last 2.
Metal and water. Then you need to let it go. So the whole point of really becoming truly yourself is being willing to let yourself go.
Okay, so I got to do it. Let it go. Let it go.
There you go.
All right, one more time on that.
Yeah, right. Because being a wizard means living limitless, not even being limited by yourself, moving beyond yourself, beyond your habituated ways of reacting to the world.
All right, you got to say that again because that's like the asterisk to the title of this podcast.
Because being a wizard means living limitless, not even being limited by yourself. Moving beyond yourself, moving beyond your habituated ways of reacting to the world and not being limited by who you are. It's about being more than who you are, being open and flying free.
All right, we just have to end the podcast there because it's just not going to get any better than that. That is it. So you got the question in the beginning, and there it is. That's the end of this podcast. But let's give them a little bit of homework.
Yes, just a little bit of homework. So it's time to, if you don't have one already, it's time to start a meditation practice. And we challenge you to do it if you don't already have it. To set aside, it's even 5 minutes, but ideally 20 minutes in the morning or the evening or both to meditate. And, a lot of people, we've talked a lot in this podcast about meditation and all the different kinds of meditation. Taoist meditation is a little different than some other kinds of meditation, but it's really not about what you're doing. It's about being by yourself. And if you already have that meditation practice, you can add some Taoist meditations to it, which is often more about self-awareness and self-realization than just clearing your mind. Which is lovely.
Which we also have in the Learning Center, Alchemy Learning Center.
Yes.
.com.
Yes, we have some alchemy meditations there that you can Now that we have the app, you're going to be able to listen to with the app, which is so cool. And
I got
so,
the second part of the homework. Go watch the Groundhog Day
yeah, go
with
watch
Bill
Groundhog
Murray.
Day. Yes.
Watch it. See if you can pick up on the bigger concepts that we were talking about. The Buddhist concept.
Yes. And so for this week, again, it's about asking yourself, is there more to life than this? So when you ask this question, it's not to ask your mind to figure out the answer. It's about allowing that question to resonate with you, to percolate for a while, and just if it does, why? What do you feel? Allow that to bubble up inside you, not try to mentally figure it out, but let your spirit answer that question.
It should be a flow. It should be easy. Might take a while.
Yes. And do you feel like you are seeking that answer to that fundamental question in life? And then if yes, then you're ready for alchemy.
Or you're already doing alchemy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just sit with it. That's your homework. There's nothing to do yet.
Maybe just a little marinate there. Let it sit
yeah,
and
there
marinate.
you go. Marinate. Yeah, and then put pixie dust on it.
There you go.
Slice.
Woo, and don't forget your staff.
And it's just the feeling, the power of that question, the movement to something more in life. So, there's the opening of our book quote. We could leave with that, Jay.
Another shameless plug.
Another
Through the Mystery
shameless
Gate. We should open that book with this. I use this a lot. What you seek is seeking you.
Yes.
Right? How think about that. What you're looking for, guess what? It's looking for you too.
Yes.
Thank you, Rumi.
Yes, thank you, Rumi.
Yeah,
That's
not
a Rumi
your roommate,
quote.
but don't go be thanking your roommate. No, thank you, Rumi.
One of my
Very
favorite
wise
poets.
person.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Thanks,
that's
everyone.
it. We are out. Go watch Groundhog Day. Let us know what you think.
And do some meditation.
Do some meditation. Start a practice. The best day to start the practice is today.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there? We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.